What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Strong Family Money Show. My name is Andres. On this podcast, vlog, wherever you're getting this information from, what we speak about is making yourself the best dad you can be by taking care of your money, your parenting, and your health. So today we're going to talk about food. Everyone, I myself love food a lot, probably too much. I've been known to, with the family, travel long distances just to get something to eat. Nothing wrong with that. But there comes a time when you have to look at yourself in the mirror and take inventory of your health. And the only way to make yourself better health-wise is by watching what you eat, right? This can be done to lose weight if you're overweight. This can be done to build muscle if you're going to the gym. This can be used to just get your health in check, right? Food is the best medicine there is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you not to disregard whatever your doctor is telling you, but I am saying that if you get your food right in conjunction with following your doctor's orders, it'll do wonders. So what we're going to talk about today is the building blocks, the basics of nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist. This is what I've learned. It works on my body. I've learned that from reading lots of different sources. Whenever you do research, and this is just a tangent, whenever you do research, you want to get your information from as many sources as you can, and you put them all together, you come up with your own answer, right, based on the research that you've done. So I wrote a blog post on for a different site that I run. I'm going to post that on wherever I post this. And so basically it's just about it's totally about calculating your macronutrients. So the macros are the building blocks of any diet, right? That's the protein you eat that builds your muscle. That's the carbohydrates you eat that gives you energy, and that's the fats you eat that we can discuss depending on what diet you're on. But when you have carbohydrates in your diet, your fats are not your primary energy source, right? So the fats that you ingest have to be good fats in general, but those are used to regulate your hormones and in order to how would I say that? In order for you to reap the benefits of some of the vitamins that you take in, they are fat soluble vitamins, so you have to have fat in order to get the benefits from them. So the basis of any diet is caloric intake. So you have to know off the bat, am I using this diet protocol to gain weight? And when I say gain weight, I mean build muscle. Am I using it to maintain my weight, or am I using it to shed some? I don't want to say lose weight. So let me correct myself. If I said gain weight, that means build muscle. When I say lose weight, I mean lose fat. Okay. If you're on either side of that spectrum, the losing fat and gaining muscle, it is not mutually exclusive, and so you have to set up your diet very carefully so that when you gain muscle, you gain the least amount of fat possible, because in order to gain muscle, you have to be in a caloric surplus, which means that you are taking in more calories than you burn and you use. And when you're in a caloric deficit, to try to lose the belly fat, you will lose a little bit of muscle also, because deficit's a deficit, and you're going to lose weight from wherever the body can lose weight from. So you have to then structure your diet so that you lose the least amount of muscle as possible. So anyway, the basic calculation that I use when I try to go on whatever diet I'm trying to set up, if I want to lose body fat, it's my body weight times 12 to 13 calories. So you do that calculation, whatever I weigh now times 12 or 13, and that gives you your baseline for your calculation on calories that I need to ingest. If I want to maintain my body weight, I get my body weight and I multiply it by 15 to 16 calories. Okay. If I want to put on some muscle, if I want to gain a little bit of weight, It's body weight times 18 to 19 calories. Okay. So those are just ranges. Those are just starting points and baselines. Okay. There's going to be a lot of big feedback loop when you're doing this whole thing. You have to make sure that you recalculate on a regular basis, so that because your body weight is going to change and the calories that you start with are based on the body weight that you start with. So now you have to then, after you have your calories, okay, you have to now break down your macronutrients, right? The most important macronutrient, again, this can be up for discussion, at least when you're setting up a diet, is your protein. Okay. In my opinion, based on what I've researched, again, this is coming from someone who goes to the gym on a regular basis or who is active. Okay. If you're an endurance athlete or you do a lot of running, you may calculate this a little differently. But this is coming from dad wanting to put on muscle, right? Protein's number one. Good sources of protein. Don't be afraid of. You don't always have to do boiled chicken breast, right? If you take everything into account, you can do, like, I'm a dark meat guy for chicken, right? Legs and thighs are my thing, but you also you take from one part, you add from one part, you got to take away from another, so that calculation will be clearer later. You want to have a steak, you don't have to do the lean cut of meat, right? You don't want to have a super fatty, ribeye every night, but if you want a steak, have a steak, but again, you have to take away from someplace else. Okay, so you want to make sure you have enough protein in your diet to promote muscle gain or muscle preservation, because muscle is the only active, we're going to get into the weeds here, muscle is the only metabolically active tissue, right? That's what you're using mostly this diet for, right? You need it, for heart health. You need to make sure that all that stuff is working. You need calories for that, but it isn't. You have a weight, a certain weight. You get on the scale, you weigh something, right? Some of that is not metabolically active, so you don't have to eat to support that, right? If you are overweight, as I once was, right, when you calculate these numbers, they're going to be a little skewed to one side because you are carrying a lot of fat, right? You don't want to eat for that fat. You only eat for metabolic activities and muscle, right? I weighed at one point 260 pounds, and I was not a gym person. If I were to calculate even the weight loss value, it would still be a lot more calories than I would need to lose weight, and it'd be a large number. It would be a high value at 260 with very little muscle. It'd be a lot of food. So you're only eating for metabolically active tissue here. Okay. So what you do is, so let's say you do 210 pounds. Let's say 210 pound male. Okay, wants to lose some fat, right? So you do 210 pounds. I'll have the description, and I'll have the blog post in the description. You multiply that by 13 because that's our caloric deficit value, and you get like 2730 calories. Okay, that's your baseline, 2730 calories. Okay, so then what you want to do is you have to have a ratio, caloric ratio, on what each macronutrient allocation gets, right? So for this purpose, for this discussion, we're going to use 40 protein, 40 carb, and 20 fat. Okay, so then what you do is you say, okay, 2730 calories, what's 40% of that to get my protein? That's 1092 calories. Okay, so then you figure, okay, each gram of protein is 4 calories. So then you divide your 1092 calories of protein by 4, and you get 273 grams of protein every day for a 210 pound man who's trying to lose some body fat. Okay, then you do that for the other two macronutrients. There are also 4 calories in every gram of carbohydrate, so you take 40% because that's also the percentage we allocated for carbohydrate, which gives you the same calories, 1092 divided by 4, because there's 4 calories in each gram of carbohydrate, and you get 273 grams of carbs also. Now, fat's a different subject. There are 9 calories per gram in fat. You should be getting your fat from things like avocado or nuts. You should be eating your fat, not frying your food in it. Okay, so there are 9 grams, so we're using 20% of our calories for fat. You multiply 2730 by 0.2, and you get 540 calories of fat for the day, divided by 9. That's 60 grams of fat. Okay, that's a starting point. You want to be on that diet. You want to then divide those values by however many meals you're going to eat. Okay, then when I get up in the morning, depending on if I say I have 5 meals a day, okay, and each meal I have to have 54 grams of protein and 54 grams of carb in each meal, and I can only have 12 grams of fat in each meal. Okay, so there's going to be some work. You have to structure your diet accordingly. Make sure every meal has that. Okay, that's the starting point. I would suggest being on that diet for 2 weeks to see what happens, because you're using your body weight and not your lean body mass, right? If you're overweight, you still may be high for losing weight at whatever your desired rate of weight loss is. Okay, on over 2 weeks, weigh yourself every third day. Weigh yourself every day at the same time, right? I weigh myself in the morning after I go to the restroom, right? I've fasted and I've expelled everything from my system, so technically I'm at the lightest point that I will be at during the day. Every day you write down your weight, you're going to track it. It's going to fluctuate because of hydration and digestion. So you want to track it for every day so you can get a trend. Okay, get an average at the end of the week. If at the end of those 2 weeks you're not losing, you don't want to lose more than, I would say, pushing it 2 pounds a week. If you're overweight, that's probably doable. When you're overweight, it's definitely doable from experience. But if you're on the leaner side, right, 2 pounds a week, that's a lot. Okay, half a pound pushing it for someone who is maybe 10 pounds overweight, I would say that's perfect, right? So you want to track your weight through the whole week, and you want to get an average. You want to track that. If you're not moving, okay, I would try and get to your next step down. Is you want to take, depending, 300 to 500 calories away from your diet. Okay, depending on what your calculation was, and you can do that in a combination of exercise and food. Okay, first thing I would do is I would increase my exercise slightly. I would go out for a walk at lunchtime. I'd go out for a walk after dinner. Right, you want to start moving more to see if you can get the scale to start going down. Okay, so maybe what I would do is I would do half of whatever adjustment I'm going to make. I would do half from exercise and half from food. You don't want to take everything from food because then it makes it miserable, and then you'll get off the diet quick. Okay, so go for walks. Okay, when you start taking calories away, I would attack the carbohydrate first. Okay, so reduce the caloric intake of your carbohydrates a little bit. You want to keep your protein high, 20% fat. That's maybe the minimum, because you don't want to start feeling crappy hormonally. So I will start attacking my carbohydrate. Right, at this time you want to go to the gym. So exercise is important. You want to lift heavy to preserve muscle as well. So I would slowly attack it so that you're always in a slow decline. There are ways to lose weight quickly. They are not fun and they are not healthy. I would not advise for that. I would say half a pound a week for a long period of time until you reach your goal weight is probably the perfect way to lose weight. So it's what you want to do when you're eating in this mode is you want to have as much whole food as you can. You want to have single ingredient food items. Go-to breakfast can be eggs and egg whites and oatmeal. You have some sort of, for all the other meals, chicken or steak or ground beef, lean, with some plain potato, sweet potato, white rice, vegetables, salad. So you want to eat things that are slow digesting, not because they have any magic, ingredients, but because they just take a long time for your gut to turn over, and that's going to keep you from looking for something else to eat. So take a look at the post that I'm going to post along with this video. It explains everything that I just did verbally. It's a lot of information to take in. If you need help, you can reach out to me and I can help you figure out what you need to do. But that's the only thing. If that's the only thing you do is just clean up your diet so that you're eating whole foods, we can go over if it fits your macros. If it fits your macros, we can go over keto and all that stuff. But the only way that those specialty diets work is if you're still in a caloric deficit, right? You can gain weight on a keto diet because you're eating too much. That's not magic, okay? So if you need help setting up your diet, I'm not a dietitian, but this is what I've done. I was extremely overweight at one point, and this was the biggest tool that I had to correct that. Reach out to me via wherever you find this. Message me. I'll have my email address there. My phone number is not hard to find. If you want to call me and we can go over that. But taking control of your health is important for any parent, but a dad, you have to be strong and healthy. You don't want to, stuff happens anyway, but you want to do everything you can to make sure that you're there for as long as you can for your kids, to support them and guide them through their formative years. So anyway, calculating your macros is the basic building block for good health. Again, if you need help, reach out to me. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next time.